Nope.
All right, you're all good.
So these are not Hop's maps. These are mine, mainly because I don't think Hop actually made any yet. He's been away. So this is what 33 Bravo is going to be doing. I cannot imagine that Hops will be much different. Um, but mine are kind of more on the side of caution. Originally, I was thinking 6 battleships because, YOLO, full send, let's have some fun. And there may be a part of me that wants to do that, but I figure we probably need to actually have a way to properly play these maps with the possibility of each team using 6 battleships. I don't think 6 battleships is the greatest decision. You have no eyes, and if that is the case, it's just going to become as many Turpitses as I can get and as many Pomerans as I can get, and I'll meet you in the middle, which sounds fun.
2 Missouris. There's your eyes.
Okay, that's fair. So instead, I talked to Mung and all about this. These two DDs I have here are very specific DDs. They are anything with a torp reload booster. So Kagero, I don't want your smoke. The Heisen Yang, the Chungmu, anything that has a torp reload booster that can spit a shit ton of torps in a straight line where a bunch of battleships are going to. That's what you're going to use these destroyers for. Now, if you don't want to take destroyers and you decide you want cruisers, highly recommend that you use your tier 9 slots on cruisers then, because they need to be heavy and they need to be able to pack a punch. Alaska's something like that. I don't really foresee this first week being super serious. I honestly think it's going to be a real fun week. Like, they've never done something like this before, so remember to have fun with this. Don't take it super serious. It's the first week. The first week truly doesn't really affect the entire season, and it'll be a lax start. So just remember that going in before everything pops off and we're frustrated because we're getting rushed by 4 Tirpitzes and 2 Pomerans. Have fun with it and enjoy yourself. That is what I'm doing with Bravo this week. I suggest everybody does that because it's very rare that wargaming actually gives us a fun thing to do. And I think this week could be fun. Another DD that we didn't talk about a lot for the normal tier 8 season is the Asashio. That comes into play this week, I think, as a very valid destroyer because I don't foresee a lot of teams running anything other than a bunch of battleships. I'm sure I'll be proven wrong, but for the most part, I don't foresee them not doing it. I think everybody's just going to kind of jump on the same bandwagon and go, ooh, let's throw as many Germans as we can on a map and go for it. Sashio is great for battleships. Those torps hit like a mother trucker, and it's got great detection, and it can do destroyer things. The only downside is to it, I don't think you can run a reload booster on it, but you don't need to. So every map, for the most part, is kind of set up the same. As you can see, there's kind of a theme to it for the most part. We'll start with North. Of course, with this one, just flip the tactic. I still want to put a battleship over here at sea. And the reason why is because worst comes to worst, they don't put anything over here and you get a free cap. At the very end, or at the worst for this dude, is the entire team's over here and he has to run away. Luckily, it's a battleship. It can probably make that turn and survive. Especially since it's mostly going to be going up against tier 8s and tier 9s, which are not exactly the strongest battleships in the game. So you should be good. Everything else is basically just flooding these lanes. We want to be able to separate our main force for the most part. You want to send 2 out wide because there's more room out here, of course. And then send 1 down this channel right here because they have more room to maneuver than this channel. This channel is just not a thing a battleship should be doing unless they know it's absolutely clear. So send a DD down there. He'll be able to torp wall it. Anybody, for the most part, teams that aren't exactly knowing what they're doing tend to push this channel because it's the path of least resistance to the cap. Take advantage of that. Put a Kagero there or something with a shit ton of torps. Flood it. Get a bunch of torp hits, and your team goes up. Super simple. I don't have any reason why I want to fight for any solo cap this week, honestly. Um, Pushing through with 6 battleships is going to be great, but at the same time, 6 battleships take a very long time to get over to caps that are over here. So by the time they capture these two, now you've got to kind of make a decision here. And it kind of just becomes a NASCAR track at that point. And that's how I would play it. So I'm going to be focusing quite a bit on these 2 caps. Um, if we have a problem with that or you have other ideas, please feel free to ask because this is just my take on this week and not everybody else's.
So is this map set up for German battleships? Is that kind of where you're thinking sending Germans?
So I'm thinking a lot of Bismarcks, Tirpitzes, in Massachusetts for tier 8 and tier 9 Pomerans. I think I'm just going to run 2 Pomerans the first day and see how that goes. Uh,
I'm thinking 1 Palmer and 1 Delaware or something, because it's good, you know?
so I'm kind of torn with the Delaware just because if it turns out to be 6 battleships, then the Delaware is not doing battleship things good enough, and it's so big and easy to just kind of burn down. So
Yeah,
I don't know
definitely.
exactly if I want to do anything with that. It really depends on how everybody decides to play it. If they kind of have like a gentleman's agreement, the entire server just like 6 battleships, let's fucking go. Then Delaware, I think
Yeah,
I'd rather have
Delaware's good.
an actual battleship. But if they decide that, hey, we're going to run 3 battleships, 3 DDs, well, Delaware becomes a very fucking good idea at that point. So it's in the back pocket, but for the first night, or at least the first 3 battles, I don't intend to. And after
Yeah.
3 battles, we'll see.
My guess is that Delaware's will be non-existent until after the first week.
I'm hoping so, and I'm kind of thinking that's why they did this first week, in hopes that maybe it lets the community forgive them for the shit they're about to go through for the next 4.
Yeah.
But these are mostly focused around brawling battleships. That's what we're doing, at least in Bravo. I'm fully intend to not take this week super serious. I want to have fun. It's a unique experience when it comes to clan battles. So enjoy it while you can. None of these are super serious strats. There is no complication to this. It's going to be push and then stop, push and then stop, or full send and let's see how it goes. It's the first week. That's just how it's going to be. But you still want to kind of put a little effort into it. So that's what we're here with these. The 2 DDs, as I said, torp, 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 torp. You just want torps. Don't worry about gunboats. Gunboats don't do shit versus 4 battleships. It's not going to work. And it's really not going to do anything versus 6. So torps are going to become your best friend. So the things that we've been preaching, like blacks and all, believe it or not, blacks actually do make a good torpedo boat because while the torpedoes are slow, they pop up at like half a kilometer and strike, and they're really good at zoning out very, very narrow channels. So I'm not super against the black, but just know those aren't really
There's a
torps,
lot
they're
of
sea
zoom and
mines.
hydro. Yeah.
And it's reason for taking it. Its radar will be probably non-existent. It's really not hard to spot a Pomeran. It's quite a thing to spot. So everything that we've like gone over, that Hop's gone over like last week and all, honestly, probably throw it out the window until the second week because
Right.
I don't think that most people are going to take this serious. I've asked around and looked on the forums and Reddit, and it seems like that seems to be the consensus that they're just like, yay, if we can take 6 Tirpitzes, take 6 Tirpitzes. So it's that type of thing.
So it looks like your philosophy on the west side of the map is you gain some distance with your battleships, and you're not going to super heavy push until you get a good feel for what the enemy team has and how they're deployed. You're going to adjust. So it's
Yep.
not like they're just going to sail out to those red arrow positions and then just kind of stop. They may hard push, but you're setting yourself up with crossfires and the ability to put pressure on the enemy team.
You don't want to. So this is going to come down to the caller. I'm cautious by nature. I'm not going to go full send 3 battleships down these channels. I know better. Don't go do that every match if that's what you want to do. At the end of the day, I can't tell you how to play. But these are narrow channels, and if they take DDs, it's a DD magnet. Okay. Especially if you happen to have 2 or 3 of them going down this channel. Remember, open water is your best friend. That's why these strategies, as you can see, tend to point towards where there is the most open water, where you can get these boats to be able to move. Now, a couple of them aren't because just the way the map plays, and people are a sucker for feeling at home at the way that they typically play a map, so I don't foresee them changing it. The only thing that I do want to recommend is possibly thinking about putting in more of a bow forward battleship in your lineup and not running possibly the 4 German type thing. The reason for that is because I think there's going to be a couple situations where it would be nice to have a pillar that can possibly go cap something that the other team is pushing instead on the other side of the map, and that's free points. So that's why I think Massachusetts is kind of a good idea at the same time as like the German things, because Mass can push, but it also can sit up against an island, bow forward, and give you pretty decent sallows at the end of the day. And Alabama would possibly be my first choice for this because I think it's the most accurate. Besides that, in the NC.
Yeah, we actually had a talk about the Alabama the other day, and it has like a very minor sigma decrease over the NC. So if you just want a spammer, I mean, the NC is not bad.
So that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
It's just to get out of there, and I realized that if there's 6 battleships, the suit's not getting there. So just stick bow forward and try to keep at least one of those options to flex, because if you can drag 4 battleships up this way because they're so honed in on getting this guy, it takes a real long time to turn them big ass boats to come cap this. So the more time this guy can stay alive, the better. And with a boat like that, typically they're pretty good at running away because they have a superstructure, but it's kind of a narrow boat that you can kind of swerve and all that type of thing. So keep that in mind. I'm looking more at Massachusetts, Alabama type thing. Maybe I know a lot of people will love this one. This is actually one of the cases where like a key or an Amagi come into play in my mind because they make real good kiting battleships, and a lot of their firepower is in the rear, and that's where you're going to need it. So
What do you think
it's
about
that type
something
of
a
thing.
little bit faster or with some unconventional options like the Giuseppe Verde or the Ruprecht out there?
So I
They're
probably
not the
wouldn't
most
waste tier
tanky.
9 on it, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But if that's what you guys decide to do, that's there's nothing wrong with that. I
Just
think,
thinking through option.
yeah. Personally, for if I had my way and they didn't ban it, I would be putting a Georgia in this spot every single time because that's
Right.
what the Georgia would be great for. So
Right.
think Georgia, but not Georgia because you can't own it or can't play it. So that type.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions about North? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
West side push. We've seen it before. We know how to execute it.
Yep. I know people will be like, "What about over here?" Honestly,
Ignore it.
if you're this far out, man, it's going to be rough to get over there. Like that's the only thing. This just comes into play on until we know what they're doing. If
Yeah.
Wednesday night happens and people are like, "We're not running any battleships," and everybody's running 6 DDs, I'll throw up some maps real quick and get Hop to do it too to kind of like adjust this. But for right now, we're kind of prepared for everybody to just fuck around with battleships.
I mean, if you're running 6 DDs, I'm not even sure you need strat maps. It's all about the player's skill anyway. You have to
Yeah.
know where you're out a strat map. 'Cause
You're just going to run a
they-
bunch of Fantastiques and go run at battleships the entire time. So.
yeah.
So hotspot is kind of the same thing. 9-10 line is still going to be important. That is not. This push in between these two, while valid, it takes a lot of power away from this. And as I said, people like to play maps the way they're used to playing them. So a lot of teams will still focus on C. And you know how this map goes. It doesn't matter if a full team pushes over here. Typically, if you can control this area, you have a chance at coming back and winning. It's not going to be any different with battleships. It's just they're going to have more health.
Move
So,
slower too.
most of my force is, or half of my force is going to be over here. Let's win that, and then they can go in and cap this, or the DD can go in and cap it right away. It's up to you. Here is another one of the battleships that I said that can go bow forward. I want to put one here. And the reason why I'm going to do that on down here is because this island is a little easier to sit on. Personally, a battleship is way too fucking big up here. Put it out just a little bit wider. And because this is such a big area, you still want something covering it. And this should be possibly a longer range battleship. So say you're running to Massachusetts, put the Massachusetts out here because they have better accuracy than Bismarcks and stuff like that. So that's what you want. If you decide that you want to put one long range battleship, it's a long range battleship, Alabama, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to put up here. If you decide not to run the DDs, I would just run 3 battleships down this line and 3 down this line and see how it goes. Like, there's really not
It's not.
a
There's no
strategic
grand
science to
strategy about
this.
that. Yeah.
I could sit there and go, yeah, just sit bow forward on a bunch of battleships and see how it goes. It's okay. There's no radars to pop or anything like that unless they're running Missouris, and that's literally the only thing you're really going to have to worry about, unless something goes completely off the rails where teams are just like, yeah, we're not going to have fun this week. I really hope that's not the case. So, any questions on Hotspot?
The push timing down the east is going to be pretty critical. You got to make sure that you know where everybody is before you get in too close. One extra battleship popping up from around that island as a surprise is going to ruin your day, you know. So stay uncommitted there until you've got good spotting.
So, I'm hesitant on telling you to do this. That's way too out wide, but I think this is also going to be a point of annoyance is if you don't happen to see one battleship and then it magically appears at this island or right here
Yeah.
out of nowhere. I think this map will be one of those type of things. That's why I have a battleship out here, not just a destroyer. Remember, these guys are just torpedo boats, Kageros, and stuff like that. Deep waters are actually kind of your friend this week. Like, they hit really hard and they pop out of nowhere. Now, there may be a lot of hydro with Pomerans and Bismarcks. That's just something we're going to have to deal with. But for the most part, I foresee a lot of American type Massachusettses and stuff like that. So
That's interesting. You've got that white line drawn as a potential stealth option. And you kind of had the same thing on that last map with your battleship out to the east. It's seeming, I mean, if that pattern kind of holds that you have one sort of flex battleship and everybody else is kind of looking towards the push, then, you know, Giuseppe Verde,
you
the
could
hoop
easily
ranks.
do that. And
Yeah, something
that's
speedy.
just the way I am. I want flex. Like, I
Yeah,
want you to have to go to the other side of the map to deal with that one. It works
gives you
for
options.
everything else, and it just gives you the ability to do that. So it's a pattern. I was real hesitant on putting it on here. If
It
you're
just
gonna
takes
do this,
forever.
put somebody in that boat that knows what the fuck they're doing, and they can stay unspotted because you need it to be a surprise for it to work.
It would take out one of your players from the fight for a while. He's not shooting, or if he's shooting long range and not getting a lot of damage. It's a risky move.
Okay. Any questions for Hotspot? Lovely.
Good here.
Sleeping Giant. So as far as I know, this is how the circles are going to be set up, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. So with the Thunderdome not being a thing, which is super disappointing with 6 battleships, I was really hoping they would adjust that. But with that being a thing, open water is your best friend. It's plain and simple. I'm going to put 90% of my effort into this area. I'm not even going to bother with this cap. I'm going to put one battleship over here to just make sure that I don't get flanked. How
And
you
that's gonna
decide
be
to use that battleship
big.
is
Yeah.
up to you. He's either there to stay, there to push, or there to go out wide. I like having a flex option.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good spot for that.
Alabama, something like that. What the hell is it? What's Yamagi with torps? The key?
Key.
Key.
Not really an Amagi, but it's close.
Well, it's an Amagi with torps, is how I see it. It's
It's
something
sort
like
of.
that.
It also has better armor
Also,
and whisk guns.
the Ragnar or whatever, the Warhammer 40k ones are also like
Same thing. Yeah.
you'll see those type of things. So it's just that, and that's my mindset going into it. Is I'm always going to have a backup plan to cause some type of chaos because if you got 6 ships over here and then magically one pops up into their cap, typically they're going to have to put something back here in order to get the cap back or at least push you out. So
It's going to be
a
a
lot
big
of this
distraction
goes
for
off
someone
of
else. Yeah.
human nature and how they're used to playing these maps. That's what we're going for here.
So criteria for that lone battleship, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're designing the role as something that can trade 1v1 very well. And that's why you're favoring things with torps or longer range.
Yeah, and one that can kite away. And
Yeah.
so you need it. The torps are kind of more like, okay, I've got to make this turn. I want to dump torps. So then this DD or the battleships that are pushing, they've got to slow down.
Mhm.
Key and stuff like that can do that. If you want to put it German's also another thing because it can make turns and not get Citadel. But you can
Sometimes.
pen a Pomeran for 25k, no problem. So remember that. Sometimes it's better to take the Citadel and hope that it overpens. It's that type of thing.
Mhm.
I want something that can flex Massachusetts, Amagi, something just out of the ordinary that you really want to think of as like a battleship that you'd play in a 6v6 battleship type thing. You want to use those type of boats to your advantage for this. And if you can't run that type of thing, so be it. You know, we're constrained by what everybody has, and that's just how it is. But I'm trying to give at least a silver option for everything. So NC, Amagi. What's
What do you think about Missouri in that role?
Missouri wouldn't be bad. I
Because you
honestly
can
that would be
lock down
okay with
DDs.
me, just because the radar is
Yeah.
10 km. But
9.5.
okay, 9.5. But I don't expect a lot of people to own Missouris, so it was kind of a
Yeah.
that type of thing.
If you're limited to tech line ships, is your Americans like Iowa, North Carolina probably your best bet, or would you advise a different tech line?
I'm never gonna say no to an NC. As much as I don't like the boat, it's probably overall the best tier 8 tech line battleship.
Yeah,
I can't
it
really
is.
think.
Also, the idea of locking out one of your T9 slots for Missouri just in the hopes of raidering a DD is
That's the
doesn't seem
thing.
that worth it.
It really comes down to how that like first day is played. If it's
Yeah.
6 battleships, okay, then the Missouri doesn't become a thing. But if they're also running DDs like I plan on to just to be a jackass,
Mhm.
then it becomes a little bit different. So stick with kind of those type of boats. If you got a Missouri, play it like an Iowa, and it does good. The only other boat tech tree wise that maybe I'd recommend. Wow. No. So in my heart, I want to say something like right there for this. If you have to go bow forward, don't punish me. But like a Richie Lou, I don't hate that boat. Um, that type of thing. But
It's
if
not
it's got to kite
terrible.
away, yeah, you're not going to do anything. So it's just that type of thing. You want something that plays bow forward really well. Like if I had my opportunity, I played at John Bart the entire week right here, and that's just what I do because that's what I love playing is that boat. So just something that can hold its own against something else.
Whatever comes.
And
Yeah.
then you meet
Well,
secondary gem, and you're like, I hate my life.
well, one option, I guess, is the British battlecruiser line. If you want to throw a Hawk or what is it?
So I won't recommend the Hawk, even though I love that boat and I think it's amazing. It's real squishy. The Duncan, I think you can play it pretty much like a St. Vincent, but it just doesn't have the overmatch. It's got the same hull, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm being honest, I enjoyed the Duncan a lot more than I have the St. Vincent so far. The
And its
guns
fire
just seem
chance
to
is
be.
still good.
What'd you say?
I said its fire chance is still
It's
unearthly for a
it's
battleship.
still real good,
Yeah.
and it's got the super heal. So Duncan is something to think about. It's a solid boat.
If you're restricted to tech
Uh,
3, yeah,
Just a bit of.
Americans are British, you know.
I'm pretty sure the Duncan's overmatch doesn't matter because 30 mil only applies to tier 10 cruisers, not tier 9 or tier 8.
Yeah, it's more about like.
It's more
I
of
mean,
the
the
reason why
heal is
people take it.
the fire chance.
Maybe we'll see a bunch of two Duncans and that type of thing. It's a possibility. If you have it, good, because it's a solid battleship. Well, it's not a battleship, but it's a
Yeah, it's
battleship.
solid.
Just know that
It's one of the few tech
it's
3
gonna be
ships
pain.
that seem reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any questions with Sleeping Giant? Dino, mute your
We're
mic.
good. We're
We've already seen one instance of the Empire's plan in the core. To flank our fleet.
Dino, mic check.
I
Hot mic.
don't think he's wearing
Oh
his
shit.
headset.
Hello.
All right.
There we go.
Trident. So I'm gonna kind of erase this then and show you another one. If I'm gonna choose, this is how I want to play this map because I'm used to playing these two caps. I fucking hate this cap, but with 6 battleships, it's a little different. So we're gonna do this on the opposite side. And if you like the more fucking send it type of play, then I would just kind of mirror what's over here, just outside more, except I'm ignoring this entire zone like the plague and just send everything around. So you make it your battleships and four. You want to send all them over here, and then if you manage to clear this, let's do that instead. Take 2 back this way, and then 2 this way and push. It's that type of thing. Will it work for this? Yes and no. I've seen us do it before on normal maps, but this comes down to how this map is typically played by most clans. They're going to set up for something that they kind of know how to do, but with that type of thing. So I hate over here. Over here is awful. It's a personal thing, but if you like playing it that way, you could just mirror what's over here. Honestly, the caps are as close, and if I'm being honest, it's actually easier to get to the caps through this side because there's a ginormous island here. So
You know, this is interesting. This is the first map I think where there's viable push options on both sides, and there's not a ton of difference between them. How would you adjust if you're red team and you see green team doing what they're doing? Would like
Well, you can't
you do much?
you can't turn around, so you kind of have to go in there at the same time.
So if
Well-
I'm red and I'm setting up for this, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
they're there. Well, first we're gonna send this, and he is going to sit right here because he is your first line of defense. And then I'm
Yeah.
going to get this dude there, and then the DD needs to go out, and it's just kind of this type of thing. We're just going to do
Just
that
commit
type.
to the rotation.
Yeah, commit to the rotation, and then have one BB right here because now you own this cap. So now you're fighting for this, and you have, if you take destroyers, you have this advantage where you can sneak a destroyer in here. It's that type of thing. So do I think a lot of teams will push out here? Maybe.
We'll
I don't
see.
know. But that's how I'm countering it. I'm just full committing to the push, and whatever points we're down by is what we're down by, and we'll recover from then because I'll be in a much better situation than they will. Because if they
Yeah,
commit
for
to
sure.
this push all the way around, then there's only one. They're only on one side here, and while that's great for them, you still can have something here. It's really not hard to not take this battleship this way and instead just putting it, back here or whatever. You
Yeah.
have more of an option because if you commit to doing this over here, it really depends if they decide to go wide or not. Purposely, I want to stay out of this cap, just because caps are torpedo magnets, and if they're running DDs, that's where I'm throwing my torps on this side. So
You know, as a battle caller, my instincts are to have that central red cruiser. If you see that big green push coming, is to go south, get some flank coverage. But I I don't think in this type of meta that really works. I think you kind of need to mass your firepower and take enemies off the board.
In a assuming it's two BB centric teams, going
Right.
wide with some of your BBs is ideal because it opens up flank shots on those guys.
Yeah, but BBs aren't really like having a Chapiev out there. Chapiev will dodge fire. They won't die. I'm not
I mean,
sure if there's a battleship out there that'll survive that type of mass return fire.
yeah, if you're fighting cruisers, yeah, it's a different story. But if it's BB centric, then it's different. Then you want battleships going wide.
You got to get the flanks
Well,
with them at least. At
that
least
one
one.
flank for sure. Yeah. And maybe that one flank is enough, and you're just going for a north side push, and that guy's just playing Ring Around the Rosie in that center island.
This is
That might be
also
fine.
the only map that I know of that is set up with this 3 situation. I think everything else it's 2 on one side. So this is a unique thing. I don't know why they've kept it this way for this map. Honestly, you could just put 2 up here and it would be real interesting. But
That would be a fun map.
It's tried. It's T6 map. It doesn't change any difference. You get spot either way. You're gonna be in gunfights either way. It's a hell of a map.
okay,
Change the
so
timing.
to me, this is the most unique map that we have this season. Personally, the other ones, as I said, they do not work. Besides, let's see if I can get this one going. See, for some reason, this does not want to work. I broke it. Cool. So, let's do this. All right, in the stream there. Little memento. What was that map trap? Wait, trap is a map? Oh god, that's gonna be nope. Alright. This is going to be jank as fuck, but until I can get the others to work, this is how it's being done. Because I don't have, unless somebody has the maps that like they can send to me really quick and I can throw them in paint, but I don't have them.
I mean, the big thing is the concept, right?
Yeah.
We've got basically the same battle plan on each of these maps, same fleet comp, same general idea.
This is one of them that is also a little different, and that's why I wanted to go over it.
Yeah.
And of course, they have it. So,
Why don't you just start it up and hit M?
that is okay. I actually think that. Okay, so we're gonna do this a little jank. Can everybody see my cursor?
Your map setting is wrong.
Isn't it?
Yeah, caps aren't in those positions. That's the random metal variant.
Wonderful. Okay, that does make things easier because I didn't think they changed them. Does it have a?
Yes, it does.
Son of a bitch, it does.
Wow, my Discord absolutely hates this.
Oh no,
Don't
he's
worry.
bringing out the ever so famous Windows Paint.
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
baby. Welcome
You
to.
can get a higher res version by hitting M, I think.
Yeah, just hit M.
Oh
Yeah.
no, man, we're doing this old school. Look at this. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yes.
Alright. So
Yes.
everybody see it?
Yeah, it looks good, dude.
Fantastic.
Okay. Wonderful. Alright, so we're gonna do what we got shape wise here. Alright, so lightning strikes are gonna be destroyers, and we'll do stars for battleships. Very,
Oh.
very special.
I won't be a star.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's gonna be interesting. Alright, so
Yeah, you can't move them.
yeah, with this being the way it is, I didn't know it was going to be set up like this. I completely forgot because it's been forever since I was able to do scrims. So, uh, this is one of the maps that is weird because we don't really have any experience playing clan battles on it. I cannot remember for the life of me the last time this map was used as a clan battle map. And from what I remember on scrims, unless that's changed in the last 3 weeks, we are putting a lot of focus onto C. And from what I was seeing, a lot of, let's say, success was putting boats out wide here. And it seemed that the teams that got their boats out wide and focused on this was more able to push C than somebody that was over here and more focused on the AB. It's really easy to trap a team down here in AB, by the way. Like, super fucking easy because there's nowhere to hide, and these islands are not like the most secure. So teams are really hesitant to push this because
It's
typically
exposed. There's
it's
nowhere to go. You
suicide
can't
in
take your cap.
randoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one option would be to, if you're running a fast, squirrely, open water, longer range battleship, like we were talking about, you have him take alpha cap and then just kite off. And then you're doing this lightning strike, up around Charlie. Just due to the speed of your battleships, though, it's cruiser territory up in the northeast because they're a little faster. You can get some battleships up in there, but they take so long to get their action in the fight. And if the enemy team's pushing on the south, you're just wasting force. Maybe
So
keep it a little bit more Charlie Cap focused.
so in the grand scheme of things, that's way different start, but whatever. I would
That's
probably
right.
have this destroyer come down and cap this first because you still want the points, right? But after that, he can kind of go fuck around up at sea. I want one battleship here, and the reason why I want it up against this island is because if they're running a DD, you'll know when they're in the cap, and that'll just be your cue to run because now there's one less ship up here. Full push. Just keep them safe and watch A. It's going to be a very boring job for them, but you just want something to watch this cap. That's plain and simple. It can be that, kiting whatever battleship that you have. That's what I would do with this. C is the focal point on this because, again, everything I remember from scrims, we were not seeing teams go running down AB. It's real easy to stop, and it's real easy to make them stall out. These islands are great for cross shots when they get to like right here. So
Yeah.
What if you just rush your entire battleship squad right up into C cap and get on the other side, on the island on the opposite side of C, on their side?
yeah,
The
that's
torpedoes would
viable.
kind of suck, but yeah, you could do it.
I fully expect if they decide to do it, teams decide to do it, you're just going to see a bunch of teams do full send. And if that's the way it is, cool. There's really no way I can sit there and tell you, okay, this is how you stop a full send push because it's really going to come down to where you're positioned to begin with. So if it's 6 battleships coming at you, you want to burn them down one by one. Make sure you focus fire. That's something that you're going to have to do this week in order to make it work. These are battleships. They have heals. They take a lot of damage. Focus fire is going to be key. Remember, there's going to be a bunch of ships that are great at slinging HE. Duncan, Hawk, as much as I hate to say it, the Monarch, because I'm sure we'll see a couple of them. Lion, stuff like that can sling HE really well. The American HE is no joke either. It can do it. I'm sure you'll see a Kansas and a Minnesota somewhere. That HE hitting you is not fun, and it's accurate. So focus fire is going to be key. Burn comps are going to be a thing because that's the easiest way to kill battleships that are coming at you bow forward. And that's what I expect a lot of these battles to be. I don't expect them to be flat broadside and shit like that, like cruisers are. Get your bow forward and have fun getting through my 32mm nose. That's what I'm going to want the entire time.
So one option for this, I guess, is if you wanted to cap your alpha or your bravo cap with a battleship and just have him sit bow out down there, he's going to be difficult to dislodge by anything less than, you know, a decent assault. It'll buy you time. And then you could put both of your torpedo destroyers kind of working the torp angles on Charlie. That locks that cap down pretty tight. You know, you can expect to get torp hits if you're putting both, you know, 2 torpedo destroyers with reload boosters up towards Charlie.
So
You're
remember,
gonna get kills. You know, this is good.
wow, that is super fucking big. For this ship to really be in any danger, they've got to be like right here at this line. Out further, and it's really easy. But right here, it's super easy just to back up a little bit. If you manage to have a battleship get down here undetected, okay,
You're not gonna see that. Yeah, it's just too far.
You're fucked anyways. So this will see it. So it'll be relatively safe to do this. I don't think caps are going to be a major thing in this. I foresee it kind of being more like brawls, where they shoot for the one cap and they fight and then die and okay, next game. That's how I think it's going to be run. 31 should do great. They did 900 battles last time. They should know how to do this. It'll be
Bam.
bing, bang, boom. In, out, in, out, and out. That's what I'm expecting.
All right, I need some help.
Do you?
What are these symbols? Because I just came back from the restroom and I just see.
Oh,
a bunch of
lovely. Okay,
stars
so stars are battleships and lightning bolts are destroyers.
okay.
You have to look. You have to squint your eyes to tell that they're lightning bolts.
Yeah, can't tell.
They're
okay?
magically delicious.
So it's that type of thing. For the other maps, oh, Jesus, what are the other ones that I haven't covered? Let's see.
So your objective for this map is a hard C push, then either through the middle or around.
I'm gonna put a lot of my effort in the C. It's just too easy to stop pushes here and up here. While there are a bunch of islands, I have the ability to then get behind those islands and use them to my advantage. I'm going to focus a lot of my attention up here just because of what I've seen in scrims. Now, that could change 3 battles in when I play this map 3 times. But right now, getting up top and controlling seems to be way more important than getting down here and controlling. It just seems that's the way the flow of this map, and it kind of plays like that in randoms. Very often do teams that push down here heavily, they tend to die down here for some reason, or they just get overran. But up here you have a lot more success. It's just how this map plays. I don't know why. Okay.
I don't know.
What?
I've been doing that one in ranked, and it's like either side, whenever they just decide to commit all 6 all 6 ships to one side.
That's
Yeah, I experienced that too, man. It's painful when they just commit to one. They just ignore the one cap you're supposed to defend.
I just don't see people playing this like a normal clan battle. Like, why would you do that? Have
Well,
fun with it.
Yeah, you're gonna push up and you're gonna try to go for a kill, and then try to get a second kill before the enemy team can even it up, and you start snowballing. You know, at that point, caps don't really matter. You're just
But
killing the enemy team.
even if you played it seriously, the fact that you want to go for A B is terrible. It's because how do you take C cap? The enemy has cover, you don't.
It's just that flank push. You know, it's real hard because you're exposing angles on your ships to the enemy team, and there's no way you can go to stop the pain. You know, it's just risky.
You gotta expand the page first before you expand the image.
Bro, it has been a hot minute since I've done anything fucking Microsoft Paint. Okay. used to be like the master of this shit. So yet again,
Paperclip to help.
oh dude, the paperclip. Okay, so again, lightning are destroyers and stars are battleships. Let's see how we're going to do this. So typically, when you're looking at this, again, you're going to be like, okay, well, you focused A, B, or BC pushes on most maps here because that's just kind of how it goes. Well, I fucking hate BC pushes on this map, and I love this side. And the reason why I love this side is because these islands are very unique in that they set up the ability to basically flank without teams noticing when they're pushing up here. So I don't expect a lot of teams to play this at A. Now, this map, I'm giving a fair warning for all of TO. I expect this map to be the one that I fuck up the most going into it until I see what other teams are doing, because I do not like doing this BC push. It's just never been a tactic of mine that has worked well. So I'm not going to try it with 6 battleships and have us lose game after game after game. That's just a me thing. So I'm gonna set it up first how I'm planning on doing it, so then the guys in 33 Bravo can yell at me and tell me to do it the proper way. But then it can be just a thing for discussion. So I'm still gonna put one destroyer in this cap because it's still a cap and people are gonna want to push it. I still expect them to put at least something over here. And if it happens to be a battleship and I'm running a destroyer, well, that's a free fucking kill. So good on that. You're still going to want another. Let's probably change the color on that. Still going to want another destroyer out this way somewhere. You need eyes. If you decide not to run destroyers, then whatever you decide to use for eyes, cool, use your eyes. I am going to put that off flank battleship in this island. I'm still going to do it down here also on the other side, just because these are solid positions and easy to do. This is how I'm going to set up this side, and then the rest is still going to be that pushing type of thing. Now, the other thing is I'm going to do, instead of 3, I want 2 here, and this middle island becomes a very interesting point of,
Yeah, I
let's
like
say,
that.
battle. If you can successfully get this ship through this middle without being seen or win this battle, that automatically means the moment it gets across this line right here, that whatever they're doing up this way, they've now got to turn around. It's just how it goes. It's on both of these things. If you lose this battle here, they've got to turn around and defend this cap, because now you have the possibility of a battleship just completely behind you while your push is going on. That's no bueno. I don't want that. It just stops pushes. So I want to keep a battleship here, and especially because there's no real threat from destroyers coming up and torping it, or there's no real threat from a bunch of chappies just HE burning the battleship down. It's going to be AP fired at you for the most part. You'll be able to live there a lot longer. So that's how I'm setting it up in the beginning of for Monday if we happen to pop on that, or Wednesday if we happen to pop up on that map. I think this point right here in this map could be real crucial. I may be wrong, but when you're more heavy focused on like the BB side and randoms with this map, it seems to be the people that can get this middle section of this map tend to do better. And while I'm very hesitant on using stuff that I've learned in randoms, that's kind of what I have to go with clan battles for this first week, because it's literally just going to be 6 retards pushing the W key, in my opinion. So, that type of thing. If you can
Well,
control this, it's super beneficial.
one thing, if you're playing that battleship position, you have to be hyper aware of where enemy destroyers are on the map. What's up, what's spotted, what's not spotted, where it could be when you're detected, when you're not detected. They'll come for you if you just sit there. So, and they'll try to block you if you start getting in motion. That's going to be tough, because that's just it's a deadly area.
Super deadly. This battleship right here, you're going to need to put your most competent player in. Like, they've got to kind of have that sixth sense with battleships that are like It's been a while. I think I sensed the torpedoes coming. I should probably move. Like, people that
Yeah.
play a lot of Battleship know what I'm talking about. It's just like this thing that you're just like,
Time to
haven't
go.
taken a lot of damage recently. Something's wrong. And they've got to be able to move. They can't just sit here. They've got to know that, okay, I've got to make this opportunity work. So that's how I'm going to set it up for 33 Bravo. Honestly, if you just want to put all six and run them down this line here, this is like the map to do it because from A to C and A to B is a long fucking way to go. So this is the one time where I'm like a BC push all in, probably do fine.
Yeah,
Just
we do
because
fine.
of how big this map is. It's one of the unique ones where it's actually fucking ginormous. I think
You
from
know,
A
on a lot
to
of
B,
these
it's like
maps,
20 kilometers.
if you're having problems with whatever you're running, just take a break and ball everybody up and charge and get a kill or two. You know, you probably won't do much worse.
Telling your battleship players to ball up when they split up is a tall order.
No, on the next map, I mean, you know.
Like I want to stress for all the callers and all the people here, like, have fun with this first week.
Yeah, there's no
So
real
what you're
meta.
saying is to have fun, we have to take 6 German battle cruisers, hit W, and just let it rip.
I have
mean, if
no,
that's your
I have
jam.
not a single problem if Winkage or SJN or somebody came to me on night one and went, "Schmuck, can we just full send this bitch?" All right, let's do it. This week does not matter worth a shit. There's nothing you're going to learn from this first week for the rest of the season. It's just not going to be a thing. It's going to be a clusterfuck. Have fun with it. Enjoy your time. Do not get stressed out over this week. Please, for the love of God, if I see a clan getting stressed out to you over this week, I'm going to come down and slap you.
Yeah,
Have fun
that's
with it.
just not
So,
cool.
suddenly halfway through, it'd be like, officers meeting, guys, this is getting out of hand.
Insert
There are a
hell
lot of
yeah,
people
brother.
Wait,
that moved up and down. Okay, this is a good week to get to know one another, get used to playing with one another. Take it for that, because when you're doing a 6 battleship push, while it can still be a fuck around, you can coordinate a little bit to make that fuck around actually work, and it's a good team building exercise. Like, I've always learned the most from playing with randoms with people where we just go, all right, I'm taking a Pomeran, and they take a Pomeran and a GK or something like that. And I get to see
Yeah.
how they act when they have to push. So have fun with it and just enjoy each other's company for the first week. So, because you're going to hate each other for the rest of the time after that. So, it's just how it's going to be.
so Tuesday of next week, we're not going to have like somebody take off of the port and somebody else sleep with somebody else's wife or
No,
something.
no, no.
Like that?
We already got
No,
that
we're
out of the
putting
way
that
for
off.
this season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the next week.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
already
that's
got that
the
out of the way.
following. That's the
Yeah,
following
it's the
week.
following
That's what I'm
week.
saying.
Yeah.
I missed
So-
signups for it this season. Sorry.
So one of the things that I look for as a battle caller is something that we can kind of focus on practicing this week, and it's, I'm not always right when I say, hey, we should be doing this, we should be doing this. You go here, you go here, you go here. If I have a player that says, actually, I need to do this instead, and they're right, that's a lot more valuable to me as a battle caller, because that's a skill that not everybody has, and it's built over time. The ability to say, oh no, here's my read on the map, and I think I need to do this instead. Half the time, you're probably going to be right. I mean, the other half, you'll be just flat wrong. And working through those times means you have the courage to speak up and the confidence to say it and be wrong sometimes. That's the same thing as a battle caller. Having the team thinking along those lines and developing that confidence, we can start that now.
So I know what I'm doing personally this first week is I've got 2 new callers in 33, being SGN and Christo. I don't think Christo's going to be around, but SJN will be around. And what better way to get practice time calling with a week that doesn't matter? It's great. You can learn a lot calling wise by learning how the stress of this is going to go. It's a good time to get your practice in. I highly recommend for you to make your new battle callers. Have fun this week and get them kind of some experience. It's a free week. Use it to your advantage.
Even something simple like gathering players into a team and filling out a comp. Newer battle callers, that's a daunting task. This is a good time to start practicing that.
This week it's going to be a fun week, and it's going to be making the new battle callers miserable week. That's my plan. Uh, oh look, it saved it. Lovely. All right, Northern Waters. Yeah. So
Picket Alpha and then a Bravo Charlie push.
So you see this, and where my machine is. We want them like super big. No.
No.
No. I don't know in what universe putting 6 battleships in that many island area is going to go well. I'm just going to focus all my power at A, and if we don't win A, well, then back to port, guys, because I'm not going to make a strategy for over there. That's a fucking nightmare. That is hotspot on crack on the BC side. There is just way too many places for Turkises and Kageros to hide and stop my 6 battleships. It's a clusterfuck. There's no easy way to push this side, even with cruisers, let alone big ass fucking German battleships or American ones like I'm expecting. Ain't worth it. Capture A, secure A, kill anything that's over at A, and then go capture B and C. Don't worry about that cap. Just fucking ignore it, and if you lose a bunch of times, blame Schmole. Because that's what I'm doing.
You're not going to send a DD over to B to cap.
I'm not going to bother. The most I will do is maybe put a battleship like in this area. But my DDs, I'm going to full send on this A cap and get it, and then just push on whatever side is the easier cap to get. Because I'm not committing anything over here, especially because the way you get BC, you're not just going to be able to push. This is a torpedo alley. You have to go out and around. That is a lot of maneuvering for a big battleship, and that means you're going to be not going full speed. You're going to be stopping and starting. It takes a while to get from B to A over here. It's a long journey. This is one of those maps where people are looking forward to 6 battleships, but they haven't brought into account that most of the ones that they haven't banned do like 30 knots tops. And that's at full power and full speed, and not you dodging shells and shit like that. So pushes like this where you have a lot of obstacles, just no bueno in my book. I'm just going to stick with open water. Maybe at the very least I'll make like 1 battleship and 1 destroyer come out over here to cap A, and then I'm just going to put the rest in this middle area and fucking duke it out. I'm ignoring this over here. It's just not worth my time. This map is just going to be a fucking full send map for me. If you want to try it over here, more power to you. It's probably not going to work unless the other team doesn't know what they're doing. Because you can stop a push really easily on this side, especially with like 3 battleships. You just put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. Alright, good luck. You just create a dome. And they've got to kill all 3 of those to actually do anything. And you can hide behind these islands real well as a battleship. And it's a little different down here, because I believe this island is smaller. But this is just a really easy place to defend, and it'll be even easier with bigger guns, in my opinion. So that's my advice for you on this. Very rarely will I just completely delete an area of a map and say I'm not bothering with it. But with Northern Waters, I barely like doing this side of the map with cruisers. I'm definitely not going to touch it with 6 big bastard boats.
You know, it's an interesting idea to keep most of your battleship force mid. It gives you opportunity to flex. If the enemy is pushing heavy Bravo Charlie, you're just right there, you know, and you can stop that push dead. And if the enemy is more heavy at Alpha, you can stop that push dead. You've basically outflanked them no matter what.
That's kind of how
something to pick the Bravo cap up though, and you're exposed in that center area to some degree.
If you want to put something in B right there, go do that flagship. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's going to be bored, but you know, do that. But I'm just not going to commit a force over here. It's just there's just too many things that can go wrong if the enemy team doesn't have a 6 battleship comp. If you're running 6 battleships and the other team happens to take 2 DDs. I'm just putting the 2 DDs in this area and watching for 6 battleships, and I'm just going to line you up and kill you behind an island every time. It'd be real simple to do, especially like jackasses that are going to run 2 Mogadors to torp rush battleships, because that'll be a thing. I just wait behind these big islands and wait for you. Yeah, you'd literally be Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Predator, and I'm the Predator. And this ain't the end of the movie. This is the beginning. So it'll be that type of thing. So with stuff like this on any of the maps, I don't care what it is. If you see a bunch of obstacles, I stay a little clear from it because battleships are not exactly known for being able to maneuver. And you don't want to set yourself up for easy kills. With that being said, the other thing that I think you're going to see is 4 battleships and 2 French destroyers. And the reason why I say that is because I could very easily come up with a strategy for like 4 Tirpitzes and 2 Mogadors, and that to go extremely well every single time. So I think teams that like those type of boats may use them. Yeah, the Mogador is a much better, and it has more torps.
Fanta?
It has more torps. That's the more important thing.
That's all right.
So
well, if you get both sides off.
If you get both sides off, but at the LaFanta only has one side for all intents and purposes and a back, so that other side doesn't have enough to kill. If you need to use it, that's the type of thing.
I mean, you still have the ultimate torpedo, the boat itself.
Is that going to kill a full health battleship?
It's going to be rare that you get hull contact on that too. You have to close super tight.
Possible, but something I want to stress, because we don't know what they're doing DD wise yet. You want to be having ram flags for this first week. Please, for the love of God, go buy some ram flags. They are dirt cheap. There is going to be a shit ton of ramming this first week, and it could be the difference between a win and a loss. And I know I'm, stressing, don't take it super serious, but it's basically a free flag.
We'd much rather win.
But
you much rather win.
But Schmole, I'm too poor to afford ram flags.
Well, then that sucks to be you. Use your coal. I don't care.
Use your coal.
Use your coal. Jesus.
Buy 50 of them or 100. If you can't manage that, there's no way you're going to play more than 100 games this first week. There's no way you're going to play more than 50 this first week. It's just not going to be a thing.
Challenge accepted.
Need about 300 for this.
Oh god, he's right. He's just gonna spam battles the entire time.
Buy ram flags and just thank me later. Because,
Alright, team, hit W, go forward. There is no turning around. It's just go straight forward.
Yeah, like I said, have fun with it, but it's more fun to win. At the end of the day, unless you're like 17 and we're taught differently in school. I don't know. But honestly, other than that, I don't have anything else because I'm not Hop and won't get into super long lectures with a week that I just cannot, for the life of me, take in a serious manner. If I thought it was going to be serious, I would sit here and tell you, but just have fun with it, guys. Seriously.
Well, I don't think we have an officer meeting this week. So if we did want to maybe try a couple of these maps out, especially one of the ones that, maybe we didn't have